Hi everyone, it's Maria from Maria's Kitchen, and I'm going to redo the video I just did because there was no sound. So I wanted to share with you the fact that we are doing an adult winter reading program called Cozy Up to Adult Winter Reading. And so we have activities for you to do, and then you can get prizes as well. And so part of the adult winter reading, I wanted to share a book with you that we have in our collection, and it is called The Cooking Gene, A Journey Through African American Culinary History in the Old South. And it is written by Michael Twitty and Michael W. Twitty. And he has won several awards for this book, including the 2018 James Beard Foundation Book of the Year and award winner in writing for the foundation. So he has written a culinary journey, adventure through genealogy, through his personal genealogy, and for the American South with the American culinary. And his goal is to discover where he came from, where his people came from, what dishes signify that they are American dishes, and kind of like just rediscovering for him the Old South and his family. And so he is an excellent chef, but he is also an excellent writer. And so this was a really enjoyable book. You can find it in our collection on Overdrive as an e-audio and an e-book, but you can also get the actual book, not today because I have it checked out and I left it at home. So otherwise I would show it to you. And but he did an excellent job in writing about the history of the South, about the history of food, about African Americans, about identity and culture. And so it's really an amazing book that you should really pick out to read. And so also there are these amazing recipes. And so the recipe I wanted to share with you today is Michael's West African brisket. And this was amazing. It was a lot of fun to make. It was not difficult. The prep part is what is the majority of the work. And then the rest of the time, you're just baking it in the oven for several hours. So I'm going to share with you the first part of making it, which is the spice rub. And so with the spice rub, you're seeing that I'm putting in one bowl a teaspoon of ground ginger, 1 tablespoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, and I put that all into one bowl. And that is the going to be mixed, and then we're going to spread it all over the brisket. And with that, we are also going to add, after we spread that onto the brisket, we are going to actually add 4 cloves of garlic. And those are going to be minced, and you just put that on top of the herb rub. And so that is the mixture. So next, I'm going to show you the let's see if I can find it. So that was the herb and spice rub. And the next one I'm going to show to you is the, let's see, the second part of prepping the brisket. And so this part is when I'm rubbing it down with the spice rub. And I think you can see that. There it is. And I just took, you don't have to, but I just took like a plastic glove and used that to just kind of spread it all over the meat on just the one side. Did not put it on the other side. On the other side of that brisket is a big layer of fat. And so as you can see to the right of the brisket, there's that pan. There's the garlic that I'm putting, and I'm going to put that on top. There's a pan to the right, and that one is actually going to be where the brisket is going to cook in. And I have 2 large red onions that are sliced into rings. And those onions are actually going to be underneath the brisket while it's cooking. And it gives it a really nice flavor. You're not going to worry about burning your brisket because you're going to be cooking it for such a long period of time, because those onions are going to take care of everything, which was really nice actually. And so the next part I'm going to show you is where I'm getting the brisket ready to be put in the pan. So I've got another pan there ready to brown the brisket in. So I'm going to brown that brisket. You can see it's browning in there. And then I am going to basically just brown it on all sides. And that takes a little while to do because it's a huge brisket. The brisket that I had was 7 pounds. In the recipe, it's all those ingredients are for 5 pound, a 5-pound brisket. And then I'm going to show you at the end of browning it on the sides. And I had to kind of do it in stages. You just put it in, on top, right on top of that bed of red onions. That tastes really good. And so now, with a 5-pound brisket, you're going to cook it for 3.5 hours in the oven at 325. Mine was a 7-pound brisket, so I cooked it. I actually cooked it for 7 hours at 325, and it's sort of with brisket. The longer you cook it, the better, because you're going to have that meat just falling off and just really super tender. And it really was. And so another reason why it was tender is because what I'm going to show you now are the veggies. So the vegetables I have in there are 4 onions. And I'm sorry, 3 onions, peeled and diced, and then 3 bell peppers. And I used red and yellow, and I diced those. I cut the bell peppers a little bit bigger. And then I just cooked those with 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, a teaspoon of horseradish. And then once those cook up a little longer, and I'm just going to fast forward a little bit, I put in 2 cups of beef stock. Beef, he says you can use beef, vegetable, or chicken stock, and it was 2 cups. And then I put 2 bay leaves in there as well. And I'm going to just fast forward a little bit more. You can see it's all cooking down. And those are the 2 bay leaves that you can see in there. And then I put in some thyme, a teaspoon of dried thyme in there. And so you let that all cook together, and then you also put in about 1 10-ounce can of diced tomatoes. And you're going to see that I've done that at the end. Oh, yeah. And now I'll show you the tomatoes. I thought I put the tomatoes in there. Pretty sure I did. So maybe I fast forward too much where you didn't miss the tomatoes, but it was a can of tomatoes that I put in there. Now I'm getting it ready to pour the vegetables all over that brisket. So you see the brisket is on top of the 2 red onions that I sliced into rings. And now we are going to pour those vegetables all over that brisket. You can see it gives it a really nice flavor. All those flavors are going to just sit in there together, and it's going to be delicious. And it was super yummy. And so I really enjoyed this dish. And then I just covered it in with tin foil. I just put tin foil over it and then covered it up, and I baked it at 325. And it just do the math. If it's a 5-pound brisket, then you're going to do 3.5 hours. Maybe add a little more to it. It's not going to hurt it. And then I had a 7-pound brisket, so I ended up doing it for 7 hours just because I had the time, and I thought might as well. And it smelled so good, and it was truly delicious. So I'm going to show you the next step, which is I'm pulling it out of the oven. And you can see I'm just taking it off of, taking that aluminum foil off of that dish. And there you go. You see all the steam and everything. And it was amazing. My house smelled amazing for a long time. For several days after that, actually. So what Michael Twitty wants you to do at that point is to let your brisket cool off. And you're going to cool it off and have it in the fridge. And then at a certain point, you are going to take it out of the fridge and you're going to cut the bottom of that brisket. And what you're going to see is like when you have that brisket, on the bottom of that brisket is just a layer of fat. And what he recommends is you just cool everything off, and then you just cover it. Cut off all that fat once the brisket is chilled, and you can remove as much fat as you want. And then you can use the sauce to cover in a pan or a pot and heat gently, and then just cook your brisket through. So I could not do that because I couldn't wait. And it just smelled so good. And I was hungry after 7 hours of cooking. I'm like, I'm ready. And so I'm not going to wait. So I didn't wait. And so this is me serving it right away. And I can see why he's decided that you should do it that way. Let it cool off and then cut that fat off, because there is quite a bit of fat underneath there. But I didn't do that. As you can see, I just went ahead and dug in and pulled it out. And I used the veggies and I used the juice and all of that. The next day afterwards, I did, once it was all cold, and I just went ahead and cut the fat off at that point. But I couldn't wait because, and you're not going to be able to wait. I'm just going to tell you that. Don't expect to, because it was delicious. And when you have something just piping hot coming out of the oven, can you really wait for that? I can't. So you're a better person than I am if you can. There's the bay leaf. You want to make sure you pull those bay leaves out and that you don't eat those. And then there is the brisket. And so truly enjoyed it. It was super easy. It was a lot of, the hard part was really just cutting up all those vegetables and then prepping it, the meat. But most of the time you're not really doing anything. You're just waiting for it to cook through. And so I hope you check out Michael Twitty's book, the Cooking Gene. It really is a fascinating journey through genealogy, through his family history, but also through American history. And so check the book out, join our adult winter reading program, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Thank you so much, and have a great day.